All right, everyone. So, welcome to our class assignment on ethical and culturally competent research practices. Let's just dive right into it. So, hypothetical research, I don't know if hypothetical is the right terminology because this is actually real close, if not right on, what I'd like to do my dissertation topic on, which is understanding suicidality amongst the LGBTQ population in Mormon communities. Um, and let's jump into what the summary would look like and what I hope to address with that. Okay, so I think as social workers, we have a good understanding as to some of the experiences that the LGBTQ population goes through, be it through discrimination or how they're treated in the communities. What we do see is that this population experiences a slightly higher risk to a host of different maladies. And what I'm looking to look at here is how does the LGBTQ population experience a heightened risk of suicidality in Mormon communities? So we see that there's a heightened risk in a host of social realms. We see a heightened risk in behavioral health. And this is due to a host of different factors. So what we see is that people who identify as this population are at a high risk for suicidality when compared to those who identify as heterosexual. This research aims to examine how suicidality is influenced by people who live in predominantly Mormon or Latter-day Saint communities. One thing that we see as a strong protective factor against suicidality is meaningful connections, especially within a community. And what I hypothesize is that the LGBTQ population experiences ostracization from the religious communities, oftentimes with their friend groups, within their families, and this just increases their overall risk of certain behavioral health concerns, up to including suicidality. And this research aims to capture the essence of this experience. However, in doing so, we do anticipate a few challenges. So this is not an exhaustive list because I identify a lot of different ethical concerns that could come up, and I would imagine that it'd be good just to have this stuff, thought about prior to submitting it to the IRB because I'm pretty sure the IRB will pick up on these concerns as well. The first one that I want to pick up on is my own research bias. I grew up as a member in the Mormon religion. I've since left. My father is deeply entrenched in the religion, and he came out of the closet about 10 years ago as a gay man. And in our conversations, there is a strong, challenge that he has being in a religion that doesn't accept his sexuality, and he chooses to essentially suppress it. And given what I have witnessed, this can impact my ability to be objective. The NASW value I've chosen here is integrity and the ethical principle of social workers behave in a trustworthy manner. Social workers act honestly and responsibly and promote ethical practices as part of their organizations of which they're affiliated. The other ethical challenge that I see are just cultural and individual differences. I do identify as a heterosexual male. As such, I do have privilege that I need to be conscious of throughout this study. And I can't necessarily speak to the experiences that my participants have gone through, at least on a personal level. And so it will be important for me to leverage some of the values of dignity and worth of the person and ethical principles of social workers respect the inherent dignity and worth of each person. Treating each person with caring and respectful fashion and being mindful of the individual differences and diversity. The last one is safety. The discussion of suicide has obviously a potential to trigger painful experiences and trauma, which brings about the risk of harm to the participant during the interview. So every risk mitigation effort will be established and approved by the IRB. The value here is competence, competence in the sense of risk management. Social workers practice within their areas of competence and develop and enhance their professional expertise. So shifting gears here, how will I determine cultural competence? So with the research questions, will be carefully tailored to address the aforementioned concerns. Appropriate language will be leveraged, and all questions are going to be reviewed by the IRB. I do plan on having heavy consultation with professionals in the field, especially stakeholders that work with the population. And selecting the participants, they'll be gathered via recruiting flyers and emails from universities and certain social service entities that works with this population. Convenience sampling will be utilized given the anticipated smaller research pool. Participants selected will be screened for the following criteria: identifying as LGBTQ, being affiliated to the Mormon religion by any extent, and experiencing any form of suicidality in their lifetime. And given the apparent risk of this population, every risk mitigation method will be employed. Connections will be made with members in the field that work with this population for consultation. Analyzing the data, it'll be meticulously and objectively analyzed. And to assist with accurate data analysis, efforts will be made to understand the culture and experiences of the research population. And drawing conclusions from the results, every effort will be made that data is accurately drawn. Given the differences between the participants and myself, I do plan on consulting with various experts to aim or to assist with drawing conclusions. And given the value of doing no harm to people, the conclusions drawn will have appropriate language. I hypothesize that this information will benefit the LGBTQ population and hope to inform policy and provide resources and advocate for them and further more research. I got all of my NASW values from, as you can see here, NASW. And that's about 7 minutes, so thank you.